For this video, you need to turn to your notes where it says graphing a linear equation in your green packet. Okay, so we already know how to write linear equations. You just did that in the line project. So now we need to graph linear equations. So your equation is going to be given to you still in the form of y equals mx plus b. Okay, we already know m stands for our slope, b stands for our y-intercept. Okay, so now just a little bit more specifically, we are going to begin with the number for our y-intercept. That's the first thing we're going to do, is start with that point, and then our slope is going to tell us how to move. So let's look at an example. Okay, so if I give you this equation here, write that in your notes, y equals 2/3 x plus 5. Okay, this is where we begin. That is our y-intercept. That gives us our first point. Okay, so we find the 5 on the y-axis. So this is our y-axis, this is our x-axis. So if I go to the y-axis and I find 5, I can put my first point there. That's the first thing we do. Okay, so that's where we begin. B for begin. Okay, and we already know how to graph a line if we already have a point. So this gives you your point. From there, your 2/3 tells you how to move, right? This is your rise. This is your run. So rise meaning, again, you can go up or down. Run meaning you're going to go left or right. And you just have to make choices to make this a positive 2/3 slope. So I can't go up 2, so I'm going to go down 2. So to make a positive slope, then I need to go to the left 3. If I went to the right 3, that would make a negative slope with my y-intercept. Okay, and I have a positive slope. So then I can do that again, down 2, back 3 to fill my graph here. Draw the straightest line you can. Add your arrows. Okay, let's look at another example. So go ahead and write that equation down. Do one more together. So first thing I notice is my y-intercept. This is not a positive 2 because I have subtract here. I need to change that to addition so I can see that is a negative 2. So again, I'm going to go to my y-axis, find negative 2, and that's where your first point goes. Okay, I make my slope a fraction, so I can see my rise is negative 3, my run is 1. So my rise of 3, I can go up 3 or down 3, which means I can do it both ways this time. So say I go down, then my run to make this slope negative means I have to go to the right, because that's going to make my negative line. If I went to the left, that would be positive, so I don't want to do that. If I go up 3 to make it negative, I would go to the left. So see how I can do it both ways, and actually that's all on one line. So if I keep going up 3 to the left 1, I can extend my line even further. Draw your straightest line you can, and that is the line for this equation. Okay, so I want you to try both of these, so pause the video to do so and play when you are ready to check your answer. So my y-intercept is 2. That goes on your y-axis, not your x-axis. And then I'm going to go down 4 and to the right 3 to make a negative slope. Okay, so I can do that again. Or I could have gone up 4 to the left 3 to make my negative slope. That's how your first one would look. Here, your y-intercept is a negative 4, so hopefully you went to the negative 4, not the positive 4, on your y-axis. And then 8 over 1 is your slope, so I definitely can't go down 8, so I have to go up 8 and over to the right 1 to make a positive slope. So this is a very steep slope. And that's how your graph should look there. Let's try a couple more. Write those down in your notes. Try to graph them. So pause the video and press play when you want to check your answer. So my y-intercept for this first one is a -1, and I rise 1 and run 2, making a positive slope. Okay, or I could rise by going down 1 and then back to the left 2 to make a positive 1/2 slope. Okay, I didn't give you a y-intercept here, which means it is a +0. Right, we don't need to write that because 4x plus 0 is just 4x, which is why we didn't write that. So 0 means we start here at the origin. Okay, and our slope is 4/1, so up 4/1, it's positive, down 4 or to the left 1. There we go. Okay, so write these next two down. These ones might be a little tricky. You might want to flip back in your notes to look at when we learned how to write equations if you forgot what these mean. So pause the video and give them a try. So y equals -5. So I still find that on my y-axis. Okay, and if you went back to your notes, this means you have a 0 slope, which means you might be able to just draw that 0 slope line through here. Or if you think about it, y is always -5, which means all of these, for any x coordinate, its y value is going to be -5. So you could plot a bunch of points. Either way, it gives you this horizontal line. It means you have a 0 slope. Okay. This is because I don't have an x here, which means this is your y-intercept. Okay, I could really change this graph a lot if I gave you this equation. Adding that x means your y-intercept is 0 and your slope is a -5, which would be this line. Okay, so on a quiz or on a test, it's important to notice when that x is there. This means it's your y-intercept because there's no x. Okay, the x here meaning that this is your slope, your y-intercept is 0, not your slope. Right, I could rewrite this equation like this, but again, this just disappears because 0 times x is just 0. 0 subtract 5 gives you -5. So this is how I will write it on your test, but that's where your 0 slope comes in. It is hidden there. So this is an undefined slope then if you went back into your notes. So this is the only equation that you go to your x-axis for because it says x equals. So x equals -3 and then x is always -3. Right? So it creates this undefined slope. Okay. Last two. Write those ones down, pause the video to graph. Okay, y-intercept is 6. I have a -7/3. Okay, here I tried to trick you. I switched these around. So your y-intercept is the -4. It's the number without the x. So go to your y-axis. Slope's 5/1. I can't go down 5, so I'm going to go up 5 and to the right 1. Up 5 to the right 1. Voila.